Hello lovers, welcome to the Butterfly Effect podcast hosted by myself, Lauren Amy. This is for those who are ready to take up space, who are living a soft life loudly and are ready to savor the sweetness in each moment. Here we're going to embrace transformation, the beauty of the in-between and the magic of becoming. So pull up a seat and listen in because life is delicious and it's about goddamn time we eat it up. Okay, before I do anything, I want to order a pizza because your gal needs some carbs. Okay, Deliveroo, pepperoni. Do I want truffle fries? Absolutely, I want truffle fries. Do I also want... No, okay, let's not go overboard, Lauren. Truffle chips, pepperoni pizza. There we go, we're not feeding 5,000, just feeding yourself. Place delivery order. Oh, okay, amazing. Pizza has been ordered. Okay. All right, let's kick this off then. Happy Wellness Wednesday. How are we doing, lovers? Hope everyone's feeling well. Goodness, let's have a little bit of a catch up. So hang on, I haven't recorded in a little bit of time because we had the day retreat at the granary, which went so well. What a gorgeous group of humans you all were. Thank you so much for joining. We just had a great day. I mean, I did sacrifice myself in terms of the sun. I did get horrendously sunburned. And what I will say is that pink hair and sunburn does not mix. But honestly, what a great day. Danny and I were just, we were absolute zombies after it, but we had a gorgeous afternoon at the sauna. Suku saunas, definitely recommend in this gorgeous farmland, just in the most randomest place you could imagine, but that was a perfect little post-retreat reset, and everyone I've spoken to who was on that retreat have said that they feel like an even mix of restored, rejuvenated, but also just feeling like really deeply rested. So that is amazing. That gives Danny and I a big tick. So we're thrilled, honestly thrilled. It was honestly such joy. There were so many things that happened within this retreat as well that I've not really mentioned. I mean, the first thing that went slightly awry was that the morning of the retreat, my sat nav decided to take me 30 minutes in the opposite direction. Mortifying. Thank goodness we had set up everything the day before, so it doesn't really matter that I was arriving a little bit late, but my God, did that throw me off. But thankfully, the rest of the day went as planned, to be honest. Actually, it all went very, very smoothly. So, yeah, so thrilled. And actually, the more that Danny and I run these retreats and run these events, each time just gets a little bit more seamless. And actually, I think this is the most that each of us have been able to participate in each other's offerings. Like usually I teach the yoga in the morning whilst Danny is perhaps preparing lunch, but no, Danny was able to join in the entirety of the opening yoga practice. And then for the beginning of Danny's section, I was kind of resetting the space a little bit, ready for our final practice. But there was a beautiful section where everyone came into the space where we were going to hold that final practice anyway. And I was able to see Danny in full flow and offer these gorgeous massages to our attendees. And just, there's something that happens when you see someone just completely soften and down-regulate. And also when you see someone in their full flow, just really showing up for that person, it's just, this overwhelming just softness just descended upon me. And then when it kind of came back to me to then run that final practice, beautiful. What a beautiful setting. What a beautiful, overflow of the day. The most important moments for me are how people arrive and then how people leave. Because I think they're the moments that they kind of take with them the most. I don't know, I do think that, that final practice really sets what people are going to take with them. In the same way, the opening practice sets the intention for the day, the closing practice sets the intention for whatever they're then going to leave with. So they are the two most important moments for me. I don't know whether it's because I lead the opening practice and then therefore lead the closing practice. It was just amazing. It was just so beautiful. I myself felt really restored, and then really, the way I've been explaining it to everyone, I felt like I had a kind of retreat hangover. Obviously not an ounce of alcohol was consumed, but I don't know, I think because there's so much that goes on in curating these events, and then it's all happening one day, it all ends in one day, and it's just like, whew, okay, this real kind of like decompression. But honestly, such a beautiful day. And we have already gone ahead and announced the next event, the Core Collective Collaboration. So we know the Calm Collective collaborations, you know the Calm Collective retreats. This is the Core Collective Collaboration. We have collaborated with Joe at Steel Fitness Group in Wood End. And we are bringing a whole new event to you, combining fitness, yoga, massage, tension release, and it's going to be vibey. I'm so excited. It's just this little injection of newness that I can't wait to just really sink my teeth into. And yeah, it's going to be amazing. So tickets are available for that. I'll pop a link below. So if you are interested, at least go have a little read. Maybe it piques your interest a little bit more. But you're more than welcome to join us. Any fitness level whatsoever. Yeah, you're all welcome. And it's going to be great. It's going to be very exciting. We've also released a save the dates for something special. Well, the return of something incredibly special in September. But even bigger, even better. I'm not going to say any more than that, but trust me, something is coming. Okay. All right. What are we getting into this episode? Not going to lie. Okay. It's this weekend has been a roller coaster. I've had so many ups and downs this weekend. Some of you might know what I'm hinting at here. And also, I'm fresh off the back of a cacao ceremony. We had the cacao ceremony today, and I've literally just got home, hence why I have ordered a big fat pizza, because one of my rituals is post-cacao is to carb load. So yes, I'm hopefully going to finish this recording by the time my pizza arrives. But yes, okay, so this weekend... So if you are on my close friends on Instagram, and if you're not on my close friends on Instagram, please do not worry. I actually don't really know who's on there, and I probably should be a bit more careful. But I decided to say on my close friends on Instagram that I decided to dip my toe back into the dating scene. And I've been debating this so hard. Like, do I want to be dating? I do not know, but there's so much in my brain right now where I don't know whether, you know how people talk about all these red flags and emotional unavailability and avoidancy. Part of me feels like I've got so comfortable in my single era that I am maybe now the red flag. That have I become the emotionally unavailable one? Have I become the avoidant one? I don't know. So this was kind of like a little dip in the toe back in, because I'm so comfortable in my single era that I know sometimes you have to disrupt the comfort. You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, right? To welcome in something new, something fresh. So I was kind of like, okay, let's have a little look-see. And I hadn't told anyone about it. Hadn't even mentioned it to Danny. She saw my close friend. She was like, what are you doing? And I think the reason I didn't really tell anyone, because I was like, it's just not a big deal. It just wasn't at the forefront of my mind. And I was just really relaxed about it. So I'm going to take that as a positive, because I think I was in a good place to be going on a date. But at the same time, should I be dating? I don't know. And at the beginning of the year, I set this intention, like, I'm not going to date at all this year. Like, not at all. But then I fell into a dun situationship. Oh my goodness. Okay, and I have not spoken about this at all. And I have been wanting to bring this to the podcast, but I just wanted to give myself a bit of space from this particular situationship. I never like to talk about things too publicly until I've given myself that space to really like process what's been going on. And I even hesitated with recording this podcast episode. I was like, should I give more space between this event? But I think because, you know, the cacao ceremony has given me actually a great deal of insight, I feel as like, okay, let's talk about it, because I'm also just like, I'm done with dealing with this in silence. Okay, let's talk about it, because I know full well, literally I met someone today, I know full well that other people are going through this stickiness, okay? So, your gal fell into a situationship. And literally, when my big relationship came to an end, and I was seeing all this talk about situationships, and I was like, could never be me. It's never going to be. I will never fall into something like that. Dun, dun, dun. Cut to, it happened. Now, context. Context is very important. So, okay. The person I fell into this situationship with, we never called it a situationship ourselves. But some of you may remember, I think it's episode 6 of season 1 of this podcast. You may remember the episode Summer Lovin', where I had started dating someone, and that had obviously came to a conclusion, or so I thought. And I was speaking very respectfully about this dating thing that had happened. Now, what I do want to say is that the respect I have for this person is still very much there. However, so much has happened since. Okay, so obviously I dated this person over the summer. It came to an end. And the reason it came to an end was because, like, if we still want to be friends, okay? If we end this now, it's going to be easiest for us to be friends later down the line. So I was like, okay. Now, we became friends, and we are very close. We are very good friends. We get on so well. But naturally, two single humans who get on so well and who obviously have some sort of a connection is gonna become something else. So cut to the beginning of this year, I had stated that I did not want to be dating. I really wanted to focus in on myself. I have a lot of ideas that are still in the planning. They're still in motion. Lots of things are still rising to the surface. And this person had come back into my life and was also trying to focus on aspects of their life. And I think the reason which our dating scenario did not work in the past was because we burnt out. We were spending a lot of time with one another, and I think it became too all-consuming, where I felt like I wasn't able to focus. I wasn't able to give my business the attention it needed. Neither was I able to give myself the attention I am worthy of. And I believe he felt the same. He is working on something in particular right now. And I feel like the relationship at the time, again, we weren't able to dedicate the space to things that needed it most, you know? I hope that makes sense. But so when we enter into this year and we have that dedication to ourselves where I've said, I want to focus on XYZ. He has said, I want to focus on XYZ. But then we have this connection, we have this kind of pull. We kind of fell into a non-committal agreement. Dun, dun, dun. And probably everyone who has been in this situationship, everyone who has been down this, you know exactly what I mean. But I feel like it's a rite of passage. I feel like this is a canon event. I feel like you have this big relationship where you're probably with the person for so many years, and then you naturally fall into something else which feels so intense, and it's just like this. It's just this canon event. It's just this rite of passage. So even though I said in the beginning, I was like, could never be me. It is me, and that is a somewhat bitter pill to swallow, but here we are, okay? The fact of the matter is that me and this person have this connection, and no matter how much either of us try to deny it, it's there. We had a great couple of months. And to be honest, the agreement we come to worked so well, because I felt like I wasn't having to overthink anything. I was just going with the flow. I was able to focus on my business. I was able to make these changes. I was able to action some of the ideas I had. I was feeling really good. I was feeling really grounded. And I think he was able to focus in on what he needed to do. But obviously, as time goes on, the closer and closer you get, the lines start to become a bit more blurred. Boundaries start to become a bit more blurred. And I'm going to try not to go into too many details. I am purposely withholding stuff back because you've got to remember that this is my personal life that I'm divulging here. But again, the reason I share these things is to, again, remind ourselves that we are all human. I don't want anything or anyone to be put up on a kind of pedestal, and I don't want to come into this podcast being like, oh, I've been through it, I have all the knowledge and I'm going to offer it to you right now. I want it to be received as a reminder that I'm also living this life too. I'm also living for the first time too. I'm also figuring things out in the best way I can too, so that you can be reminded that it's okay to figure your shit out in the best way you can too. You know, we're all in this muddled mess, okay? So in this situationship, we ultimately got closer and closer to the point where lines were blurred. Okay. And something happened where he basically was a bit silly. He made a bit of a mistake where he had lied to me. And I do not take lying very well. And it had obviously gone too smoothly. It was too much of a good situation. I don't know. He lied to me, and that was a betrayal in itself. He knows he's done wrong. He knows he's been a bit of a tit. But I still say this, and call me delusional, call me whatever you want. I still have so much respect for this person. And I was willing to kind of put it to one side. I was willing to kind of forgive and forget, because it is silly. It is stupid. If he had just told me the truth of it in the moment, instead of lying to my face, it all would have been fine. Or maybe it wouldn't, or maybe it was all going to come to the end at some point anyway. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. Yes. So he had lied to me, and we then had to deal with the ramifications of that lie. And we had many a conversation where it was just like, should we go back to friends? And I'm like, I don't know whether we can be friends, because obviously there's something here that we're both just choosing to ignore. What's the point of ignoring it? Why don't we just put the ego to one side and just, I don't know, try it better this time? He also might listen to this. This is another thing. He might listen to this. And I don't know whether this is an opportunity for me to say the things that have been left unsaid. But he is going to do what he is going to do. That is one thing I know about this person. He is going to do as he does. So whether he listens to this, whether he doesn't, it's just the way it's meant to be. Okay, so this lie happens. The fallout happens. And it's the question of, okay, do we go back to being friends? Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. And I think he tried that. We had one final meeting where he was trying to be completely normal with me, but to be honest, it just felt like he was masking. It felt the most inauthentic as he'd ever been. And you know me, I don't deal with inauthenticity well. I try to show up as authentically as myself as I possibly can. So that inauthenticity just felt really jarring and really dysregulating. So I had made the decision to take a step away, to take a step back. I didn't communicate that I was going to do that. I just did it, where I stopped responding and I just let it sit. Whether that was a mistake or not, I don't know. But sometimes I feel like silence says more. Yes, I feel like I needed to take that step back for myself and ground myself, because what had happened between the lie and me making that decision, there was more stuff within that. But I was like, okay, you got to gather some self-respect, Lauren. So I took that step back, and it is hard. Okay, it is so hard when you know there's something there, when there's this fucking tether, there's this cord between the two of you, and I don't know whether I was ready to sever that cord. I have no idea. And what I learned from this process was, I met with a friend, and I actually met with a friend this was the evening of like this all unfolding. And my friend, she knows who she is. She saved me in that moment, because I had told her what happened, and she looked at me clear in the face. She was like, it's because you're not done. The reason you are still questioning what to do here is because you're not done. And it all made sense in that moment. And again, I just want to make this clear so it hopefully resonates with people who may be going through something similar. If you have been through a big relationship where you've been with that person for years, and you feel like you have to stay in it because of how much time you have dedicated to this relationship, to this person, and when it finally comes to an end, even though it still is hard, it's still the most challenging thing you've ever done, what makes it easier is because you know you are done. You know you have given it your all. You know you have tried every possible thing. And I felt that. I did that with my big relationship. I felt like I had done everything I possibly could. Okay, so that in a way made it easier to then walk away, to close that door and shut it, lock it firmly, barricade that door. But here, with this situationship, I am not done. I am annoyingly not done. And again, call me delusional. Like, people are probably going to be listening to this and maybe screaming at me, but again, you have to appreciate that you are perhaps further down that line. If you have been there and done this, again, I need you to withhold your judgment. This is the key thing. If you have a friend who is in a situationship right now, and you know that person is no good for them, if you know that they deserve better, withhold your judgment. Okay, you can offer advice, you can offer your sympathy, your empathy, but again, this is a rite of passage. This is a canon event that everyone has to go through, and you will know when you are done. That person will know when they are done. If you're in a situationship right now and you're like, what do I do with this? You will know when you are done. Am I done? We're still figuring that out. We are still figuring that out. That step back was maybe the first step of me potentially severing this cord, but there is still something there. And I thought I had kind of buried it, but what happened this weekend has all brought it to light. We're getting to it, guys. Hold your horses, okay? Bear with me, okay? So I had taken space from this person. I have not spoken to this person. I have not heard from this person. But nothing about my routine had changed. I was still going to the same places we hung out in on the same days. I was still going paddleboarding from the same place. I was still working from the same place. I was still walking by the river. I was still going to all the spots that we would typically hang out in. Every time I would go to these places, I'm like, am I going to bump into him? Is he going to appear here? And part of me is thinking, is if someone is no longer meant to be in your life, they will just vanish, you know? So the fact that I never bumped into him, I was like, okay, he's not meant to be in my life. The fact that he didn't message me, okay. And again, I stand by the sentiment that if a guy wanted to, he would. So I'm like, okay, he doesn't want to. Okay, fine. So over the past month or so, I've been dealing with that, being like, okay, fine. It's not meant to be. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to... Oh my God, is my pizza already here? Is that my doorbell? Wow, okay, pause. Get this delivery guy some water. It's a hot day. Bless him. My pizza is here. Okay, now I have a choice. Do I eat the pizza? Do I keep discussing? Okay, right. Pause. We will come back. I'm going to imagine if I could put some hold music. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, we're back. My goodness, that pizza was just blooming delightful. I can't believe that arrived so quickly. Either that, I've just been waffling on for so long. Okay, what happened? I was in a situationship. He lied. La 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 la. Here we are now. So yes, I have not heard from this person. I have not spoken to this person. I have not seen this person, and time has been doing its thing. I've been letting that happen. You know, all things get easier with time, and that's what I've just been surrendering to as best I can. But yes, as I've been going about my day to day and going to all these places that we used to hang out in, have I been thinking am I going to bump into him? Am I then perhaps somewhat wishing for it? Maybe, sure. But again, like I said, if someone is not meant to be in your life, they will just vanish. I've literally heard stories of people breaking up with people and they still live 2 doors down from one another, but they never see each other. So I'm like, okay, cool. If he's not meant to be in my life, that's the answer. Okay? So, cut to this weekend. Cut to what I was getting to at the beginning of this podcast. Fucking hell, this has been a journey, hasn't it? I hope you're still with me. Okay, so I decided to tentatively dip my toe back into the dating pool just to see what was going on, just to push myself out of my comfort zone, just to figure out if I'm too comfortable being single or whether I'm not done with my single era yet. And to be fair, this date that I went on, I know full well that it wouldn't have been a serious thing anyway. So again, I'm like, what's the point? And casual dating, what's the point? That is a whole other episode. I might do that next week because actually I think I have a lot to say on the casual dating scene. Anyway, but I thought, fine, it's a nice thing to do on a Friday night. Let's go for it. So, and also it's a nice opportunity to get myself dolled up. You know, I haven't done that in a while. So, okay, fine. Anyway, the date is approaching. I forgot to tell anyone about it until I decided to put it on my close friends. Lol. I can't date in Bedford. I need to not date in this town because I bumped into every single person I know, I swear to God. If you saw me right, actually, this is a note. If you ever see me, on an evening with a guy, you do not know me. Okay, you do not know me because I'm conducting interviews. Leave me be. I know you really want to say hi, but in that moment, you do not know me and I do not know you. I know that sounds really mean, but honestly, I bumped into so many people. Okay, right, so I'm walking to the date and there's tables outside. My date's already there, so I'm like, okay, he says he's by the front door, and I don't know if that means inside or outside. So I look at all the tables outside, and I look at this particular group of people at this table, and I'm like, the back of that head looks very familiar. And I'm like, surely not, no. Anyway, ignore it, go in to find my date. Find my date, he's inside. So I'm like, oh, it's a lovely day, should we go sit outside? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I start walking outside and I head towards this group of people at this particular table. And I get a bit more of a side profile of the person I think I recognise. And I confirm it is my ex. My situationship, my ex from the guy I dated over the summer. My ex. Good God. Good God. And I grab my guy and I'm like, actually, let's go inside. Let's go upstairs. And he's like, okay. And I'm completely honest with the guy. I'm like, not gonna lie, there's a person I know on that table. And he was like, all right, okay, sure, fine. So I get upstairs and I relax a little bit, but I'm also just like, fuck, did that just happen? What the fuck? No, surely not. Surely this could not be happening to me. Surely I have not gone nearly 2 months for not hearing a word from this person, not seeing him at all. The first date I go on, he is there. What the fuck is that about? Universe, what are you trying to do to me? And I'm like, I believe there's a reason for everything, right? So I'm like, okay, what is the reason? What is the reason? And is the reason to just shake things up a little bit? Is what is the purpose here? Anyway, so the date continues and I'm trying for the life of me to hold on to what is in the present moment, okay? But because there's some distance now, I'm upstairs, I can't see my ex, I'm just like, okay, relax. So we start talking to the guy. And about, I don't know how long goes by, but ultimately, this group of people start coming up the stairs. And it's the same group of people. They probably got too cold outside and decided to move indoors up the stairs. And our table was right by the top of the stairs. They had to walk right past my table, and your gal doesn't blend in anymore. She's got vibrant pink hair. It's quite obvious. That is me. That is him. Hello. Oh my goodness. Anyway, and he purposely, well, I don't know his mind, but he sits on a particular side of the table. He has clear view of me. I'm sweating, I'm hot, I'm flustered, and I say to my date, like, you know that table I was trying to avoid? He was like, yeah, they've just come upstairs, haven't they? And I'm like, yes. And he was like, are you all right? And I'm like, I don't know. So I do my best. I hold on for dear life. And my date does say, like, we can go somewhere else if you want. I'm like, no, like, we chose this place. I don't want to leave. Again, I can be a stubborn asshole at times. Like, no, I chose to be here. I'm not going to leave. So again, we carry on, just vaguely aware of my ex's presence in the vicinity. At one point, my ex gets up, and again, we're right by the stairs. And I'm thinking he's leaving, so he has to walk past our table to go towards the stairs. And there's a tiny split second, where it seems as though he's about to say something. But I do not give an inch. I'm like, not now. Don't you dare. Not now. Like, you have had all the time to reach out to me. You have all the opportunity to reach out to me. You are not going to do this right now. So I switch to the other side. I just get absorbed in my drink. My body language turns away from him. I'm like, no, do not. He continues down the stairs, and I literally sigh out being like, oh, I think he's gone. And my date, bless him, honestly, like, such a sweet guy, was like, you're handling this very well. And I was like, really? Really? Am I? Because I feel like I'm, like, going through a public execution right now. And anyway, I feel like he's gone, but ultimately he must have been going to the bathroom or something, because he comes back up the stairs and I'm like, fuck's sake, here we go again. But again, I do not look at him. I turn away from him. Anyway, the date continues, la 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 la. And this group of people, they obviously decide to leave at some point. So the whole group gets up. They, again, walk past our table to head down the stairs. Now, this particular set of stairs, you have to, like, go down the set of stairs and then turn back on yourself to come down the next set of stairs. And it's as you come back on yourself that you basically turn to face our table when I'm sat. Now, because I know they're leaving, I have a decision here. I'm like, as he's leaving, do I look at him? Do I give him one look, one acknowledgement that I know he's there? So he walks down the stairs, he turns around, he looks up at me, I look at him. There's a moment where we clock eyes. I don't know what my face was doing, goodness knows, but then I look away. That moment has been living rent-free in my head ever since. I don't know what to do with that. What do I do with that? Anyway, I continue with the date. My date is very understanding. If he listens to this, I'm so sorry that this mess was brought to you on what should have been a lovely date. It was a lovely date, but my head was just fucking everywhere. Fucking hell, what is happening? I don't know what that means. As I said, I believe everything happens for a reason, but I'm like, what is the reason? Is this just a happening? Is this just the universe reminding me, like, oh, by the way, like, what are you doing with this situation over here that you never fully closed the door on? You just took a step back. And I put this on my story that this had happened, and I had so many responses. And one person said to me, like, that was a lesson for him, not for you. And I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe he needed to see that. There's so many people have placed bets on the fact that he would message me. I don't think he will. So far, I am right. So far. Do I want him to message me? Don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I do not know. Again, if you've been in that situationship before, if you have been in a similar situation, you are probably, again, shaking your head at me being like, close that door, Lauren, walk away. But this is why it's been so hard to talk about, because every piece of advice I feel like comes with judgment, and it makes me feel like I'm making the wrong decisions. In every aspect of my life, try to make the best decision. We put so much pressure on ourselves to constantly make the right decision, and I am tired of it. Again, I'm just muddling my way through this as best as I can. Again, I am only human. I'm not coming at this acting like I know everything, because I clearly don't. I do not know what to do with this, whether I should do anything at all, or whether I should just forget it even happened and just leave it. I do not know. Purposely left it a little bit, and funny enough, the cacao ceremony comes along. This cacao ceremony seems to have come round at a potent moment, and there's me thinking like cacao is going to give me a serious telling off. If you've been to a cacao ceremony before, you know they can be quite a deep dive. They can deliver messages that you perhaps don't want to hear, that you perhaps aren't ready to hear, but she's going to deliver them anyway. So I was kind of gearing myself up for that. I was gearing myself up for this telling off from cacao, and Mama Cacao basically telling me, like, you know what you need to do here. You know, like, listen to the advice that people have been telling you. You know. But what surprised me most was that Cacao was very soft, very loving, and I really gave myself permission to dive into this ceremony. These ceremonies are kind of difficult for me to be fully in, because half of me is facilitating and kind of in some way holding space for others. Half of me is in the journey. But here today, Rebecca already knew what was going on. So I fully went in. I fully surrendered. I was just like, I was so willing to hear, because I so needed some sort of an answer. And Cacao was surprisingly loving. She rooted me there in that moment. And again, she said, you'll know. You'll know. I feel like this is that deep intuition. Like, we spend so much time wondering what if. We spend so much of our time being like, am I doing this right? Am I making mistakes here? Ultimately, you'll know when you are done. You'll know when you are ready to walk away from the situation, and no one else can tell you that. You will know within yourself. That was the overwhelming message I received today. But it kind of also feels like something needs to be actioned. I don't know what that action is. I don't know whether it's a case of me messaging him, or me again closing that door, severing that cord. I have no idea what the action is. But Cacao has reassured me and told me that I know, or I will know, when the time is right. So this is what I mean about this weekend being a whole freaking roller coaster, where I decided to take a chance, push myself out of my comfort zone, bump into my ex after all this time, and then cacao ceremony where she's like, it felt like I was being really held in that moment. And I was given the space to just fucking take a breath. I don't realise how much I'd been gritting my teeth, how much I'd been gripping through my fingertips just to hold on to some sort of normality. And I also realised, and this got me quite emotional during the ceremony, in that I have not written any poetry since I stopped speaking to this person. And it's like the creativity has gone, and that's hard to deal with. And then today, those little whisperings are coming back. So there's something is going to happen. Some action is going to be taken. I don't know what that is right now. I don't know what that looks like. But however things unfold is exactly as they're meant to unfold. I don't know what the reason was for my ex being there on this first date that I happened to go on in goodness knows how long. But maybe there is no reason at all. Maybe it's just a happening. Not everything has to have a reason. We don't have to waste our time analysing what the reason is. Perhaps it is just a happening. I do not know. No one ever knows the real outcome of things. No one ever really knows, what's right, what's wrong. We all just do our best. So I know that you are doing your best. I know that I am doing my best. That is enough. And for now, I'm just going to let this sit. That was a very deep dive into some very real recent events that have happened that are continuing to unfold. And again, I never know whether I'm making the right decision. No one ever knows. This is everyone's first time being here on this earth. So give yourself grace. Give everyone else around you grace. Everyone is just doing the best they can. In life, in relationships, in work, in family, everyone is just doing their best. Everyone is just doing their best with the cards they have been dealt. I got dealt a very interesting card this weekend. I got dealt some very beautiful cards in ceremony. Only I can decide what to do with those cards. Only I can decide what steps I take. Only I know what I feel in my body. And that was a reminder from Cacao as well today. She was giving me this overwhelming reminder to stop thinking. It's all these questions that have been going around in my head. What if this? What if that? Maybe I should be doing this. Maybe I should be doing that. And Cacao literally said to me, stop thinking, start feeling. And I feel like there has been some sort of disconnect between me and my felt sense experience. I don't know whether I've been blocking that, or perhaps I've just been on this autopilot. I kind of launched myself into some other aspects of my life, perhaps as a distraction. I do not know. But I think that's the overwhelming message I want to take from this whole entire weekend. Less thinking, more feeling. And perhaps that's the message for this podcast today. Less thinking, more feeling. No one else is going to experience life in the same way you do. No one else is going to experience what it's like to be in your body as you do. No one else is going to live the same situations as you do, no matter how similar they might seem. No matter how much your family or friends might have been through a similar experience, no one is there in the present moment. No one is there in your body like you are. So you will know when decisions need to be made. You will feel when action needs to be taken. And again, all the while, just know that you are doing your best. And that is enough. I don't know whether it feels like a bit of a release to actually finally have this out there. Because again, I've been wanting to talk about this situationship for a while, and there might be still things that I still want to talk about, because again, I've had so much like conflicting advice and people telling me what to do. But only you know what's right for you. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. I think I'm going to bring this to a close now. This was a big one. This was a real big one. I'm going to bring this to a close. I'm going to continue eating my truffle fries, and I'm going to patiently sit and unwind and see whatever else the universe is going to bring me next. But please, I hope to God that I do not have a situation like I had this past Friday. But who knows? We shall see. Time will tell. Time is the biggest healer. Time is the biggest teller. So let's see, shall we? And let's continue this beautiful ride, this beautiful mess, this chaos, this calm, and just do the best we can with it. And again, if you are going through that similar situation, just do your best. And if you make some mistakes along the way, cool. The universe will keep delivering the same lesson until you learn it. Okay, cool. And sometimes I wish the universe would be a little bit clearer in what she's saying. Could she be a little bit more precise? But maybe that's the mixed signals that I have been putting out into the universe. Maybe that is something I need to look at. I do not know. Again, we're all in this beautiful mess together. So I don't know, maybe that brings some reassurance. I really don't like to come out this seeming all high and mighty, preachy. Like, again, we're all navigating this. We're all living for the first time. But we just make do with what we've got. And trust and know that is and always will be enough. And with that, this is enough. I'm going to go dissociate now. Have a beautiful rest of your Wellness Wednesday. I love you. I feel you. I see you. We've got this. Go live your beautiful, messy life. All right. I love you. Goodbye. Mwah.